Hey there. Happy New Year, friends. Some of you are almost like family to me. The reason I say that is because I've noticed that every time I seem to get in a difficult place personally, like with an illness or something that happens to me, many of you are just right away emailing me or messaging me. So before I get started on today's video, I just want to thank you for many of you who encouraged me, supported me, prayed for me, messaged me when after I had my accident that totaled my vehicle back in November and set me back for a couple of months. And for those of you as well who know that my mom is kind of going through a very difficult time. She's 82 now, and at that point where she can't live on her own, and reluctantly she's agreed with my sisters and my aunt to go to a permanent nursing home where they're going to give her 24-hour care and rehab whenever she needs it. So I felt like I didn't want to start this year without saying thank you to all of you. And I appreciate you allowing me to take that little detour. I think that there's one thing I've learned these these past 20 years is I was too often allowing my professional life to overwhelm my personal life, where I was spending so much time at a training, preparing for a training, driving to or from one, that my family, basically almost ever since my youngest son Israel was born, was kind of given the leftovers. And I know a lot of you have asked me, when am I going to be traveling around Texas again? I don't think that that is in the cards for me, at least for this next chapter, maybe. Um, I have some other projects that I'm working on, and I still want to help people, um, but I want to spend this next chapter of my life really focusing on some things that I realized that God was perhaps speaking to me in a dream. The words bankrupt came to me. And, when you're bankrupt, you're overdrawn. You've made more withdrawals than you have deposits. You've made more debits than credits. And at first I wasn't really sure what what God meant when he said that, but when I really sat down to just get alone, I feel like God gave me several areas, and I wrote them down. I want to share them with you. And I know that this video is not about writing, but it's about life and priorities. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one who at times has allowed myself to become overdrawn, bankrupt, spiritually, morally, mentally, physically, emotionally, where you just take so much that there's nothing left. So let's just call these things that I'm going to share with you the firm foundation focus. And I think if you can focus on these things like I'm going to be trying to do this year, then we'll realize together that we shouldn't just live to work. We should work so that we can truly live and prioritize those things and those people that we're doing it all for in the first place. So, and they just happen to be based on alliteration. You know, I try my best to ask God, like, show me things that are gonna be easy for me to remember and apply to my life. You know, not always in a simple way, but just in a way that I can remember and not just get bogged down and, you know, and remember when you hear the word focus, you know, your eyes are fixed on one thing. And I think sometimes we're trying to do too many things at once. You know, don't be tasks plural oriented, be task oriented, where you just try to focus on one specific goal or target or bullseye at a time. And I'm going to give you these that I felt God shared for me, but maybe some of them are for you too. You know, number one is faith, faith in your Father. It's not in yourself, not in circumstances, not in your own abilities, but in God's ability when things don't look so great. You know, uh, I've probably lived 50 of my 61 years having a lot of faith in myself, my own circumstances and abilities, and not enough in my Father. That's number one. And these just happen to be in alphabetical order. You want to write any of these down. Number two is family. When my twins were born, Zachary and Kenna, they're going to be 31 in a couple of months. And I was, you know, a classroom teacher, and I was dedicating every evening to them. This was back before schools and districts in the state were overwhelming us with red tape and um, seemingly difficult expectations that were beyond reasonable that you're going that you many of y'all are going through right now. Um so when you see less of me here and not traveling around Texas, it's because I've decided to focus fully on my relationship with my wife and with my four kids who God has truly blessed me with. And somehow, in spite of me, they all turned out okay. You know, you hear lots of stories about struggles that parents have, but you know, somehow my kids made it through. You know, that they're not perfect. You know, and I don't think we can ever expect that. But I want to make deposits this year in my family with quality time, with you know, the love languages that they need, you know, gifts, words of affirmation, um, acts of service, a hug, just whatever the Lord leads me to give them at that particular time. And that, you know, that goes for my wife and my kids. Number three is finances. yes, we want to have our jobs, we want to have our career, but remember that our finances, we want financial freedom. We don't want to be in debt all the time. We don't want to be to the point where, you know, the Psalms 23:1 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Well, we're going to have a lot of needs, but we don't always have to want every new thing that's coming along, and I think that financially speaking, just letting ourselves purchase so many things that we don't really need, just things that we want, we're literally going to be overdrawn and in debt. And there's, you know, the opposite of freedom is like a prison. You don't want yourself to be in that. Number four is fitness. You know, it's been a little interesting so far this year, but I knew that I was not feasible in cardio. And, I was doing biceps, triceps, le- uh, stomach exercises, but never anything that was going to cause my heart health to increase. And so since the beginning of this calendar year, I've run anywhere between a 5K to 5 miles every single day this year. It's anywhere between 45, 50 to 90 minutes. It was a little tough those first couple of days. So when you're just laying there in bed and not doing anything, I just realized, what, if I'm going to be watching, two or three movies at night, just vegging and doing nothing, maybe during one of those movies, I can be at the gym on the glider. And so I've been able to really focus. And so far, I haven't missed a day, just knowing that my heart health, my blood pressure, I want to get to the point where I'm not taking medication. Um, right along with that is the food. You know, uh, there's so much junk food out there that it's unbelievable. Everything fried and, pizza, hamburgers, uh, candy, cookies, pies, sweets, starch. You know, that doesn't help. So I'm focusing more on eating the right foods. I think I think I've eaten more yogurt in these past couple of months than I have in my whole 60 years of life combined. And the yogurt's really high in protein, so that's something. A lot of fruits, vegetables, um, cutting down on fried food. So that's the next one. The next one in the alphabet is friends. I think we make the mistake of not reaching out to people that are supposedly important to us until we need something from them. And how about this year, every single week you call somebody and you say, "Hey, just wanted to say hi. I'm thinking about you. Love you. Love you, man. Hope you're doing okay." And they're going to be like, "Hey, what'd you need?" "Nothing. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you and I'm thankful for you." And that goes a long ways, man. Like People, unfortunately, because we live such self-centered life, we don't think about other people, unfortunately, even our close to best friends, unless we need something from them. So whether it's a text or a message in Facebook or an email, if that's the way you guys communicate, um, or a quick call, some I was watching somebody talking about this the other day on the internet, and he was saying that every Monday he sends two or three little quick videos, so that they don't just hear his voice, they see his face, and uh, he's letting those special people know how much they mean to him. So friendship. The next one is fruits. You know, the difference, in the spiritual world between success and failure is whether we're filling ourselves with the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, long-suffering, goodness, gentleness, all of those things versus the fruits of the flesh. And so we have to learn how to make those deposits in the fruits, because if those are what begin to come inside of us, we won't be empty or overdrawn, overdrafted because of all of the fruits of the flesh. We'll have abundance. Well, by their fruits you shall know them. People are going to say, you know what, that person doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. And we want to be able to. I used to tell myself, oh, well, I'm just looking for somebody that's like Paul that says, follow me as I follow Christ. And I'm like, well, God told me one time, Bill, why don't you be that person that says, just walk after me, follow me, and I will use you. And I'm like David, man. Like, I've messed up in so many areas in my life. It's unbelievable, you know. Um, so I just never really felt like God could have me be the one that he used to allow transformation in people's lives, or um, be that avenue, that door, that window of hope for somebody. So with all of these firm foundation focuses that I'm telling you, I'm hoping that I can be a light to more of you this year, whether you're people who are just following me, just trying to get ideas for teaching, whether you're family or good friends. I think we just have to remember there has to be a firm foundation so that we don't become bankrupt in some of these areas. The last one, and I think this one's the hardest for me, like, it was the word, oh, I dropped the journal, the word fun. We're so busy focusing on all the priorities, things that we think are important. We stop doing the things that truly not just make us happy, but things that give us joy. Like, joy comes in the morning. And hopefully when it comes, because we're doing things that we are enjoying, the joy will stay there, you know. And I don't know if there's a connection, but last summer I went to Maine, for 2 months, as many of you know, and spent all of June and July with my mom, my other mom that I was raised with down here in Texas, my aunt, and a couple of sisters, a couple of brothers that live up there. And when I got back, you know, when I was up there, I brought my golf clubs, but I never used them except one time on a little par 3 course. I haven't gone fishing in forever. So it's kind of weird because, my son, Zachary, bought me this membership to a driving range last Christmas, and I was using it quite a bit from, March till when I went to visit my mom. But I don't know if something got me down or what, but I just stopped. I haven't gone to the driving range. And so that last one in there, and again, these are all in alphabetical order, so I'll make sure I write them on the description of the post for you guys. Because maybe some of these are areas where you need to get out of the red and into the black. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we can have fun while we're doing all those other things. So let me review real quick. Our faith, family, finances, fitness, food, friends, the fruit, not as in fruits and vegetables, but that's good too. Fitness, if I haven't said it, and fun. Those are what I felt I've been allowing myself to get bankrupt in and overdrawn in. So do me a favor and just really sit down someday this weekend or whenever you're watching this some evening and ask yourself which of these areas are you allowing to drain? When you drain your bank account, all the money is just going out for 100 different reasons, places, expenses. And I don't want you to think I've arrived because I don't think we ever do, but I'm hoping that because that dream was just so powerful, and I won't get into the details here. I'm writing my dream is basically a dream about my childhood home and my dad's business when I was a child, and it was basically an analogy of how I had allowed myself to become bankrupt personally and professionally in many areas. So for some of you, you're probably already doing great and you didn't need to hear this, but I hope that those of you who have started this year struggling and wondering and doubting, like you're tired of having New Year's resolutions or goals or whatever, like, hey, don't do 1,000 things. Focus on one, and I want to do all of these F's, but just one at a time, you know. that I can constantly make deposits so that each of them can stay in the black, that I can stay with a positive balance in all those areas. Because if we don't keep a balance, I have this pen here that I've given to a lot of you at my trainings, and you can see that it has the balance there. And I think we have to get outside of ourselves and figure out which of these 8 different areas are we allowing to get too empty or perhaps even overdrawn. So that's all I gotta say. I did not want to start a math reading or writing video without sharing some insight with you just about what I feel like I've been learning little by little over the last couple of months. God bless you guys. May you prosper. May the Lord's face shine on you. May you have favor and abundance this year. Good luck as you try to make some precious deposits in the people and things that are important to you, and more importantly to God. God bless you guys.